Hey guys, welcome to Popo Gijo's Paintball. Today we're going to be talking about this beauty, the Gtek 160R. Today I'm just going to show you how to do some basic maintenance, how to take apart your HPR, how to clean your ASA, how to do the maintenance on your bolt, and a few more things. So anyways, if you guys do like this video, don't forget to subscribe and like, but let's get into it. Alright guys, so we'll start off by taking the barrel off, obviously. And I think the first thing we'll take a look at is the high pressure regulator. So we'll take this off, and then so to get to your HPR, you got to take your IT pipe or whatever it's called off. So once you have your pipe removed, then you can take your two pieces off that are holding your grip in place. So untwist this, which it should be hand tight. That'll pop off, and then you can slide this piece off here, and then you can slide your whole grip off. So now we got our grip off. We have these two pieces we can wipe down. We also have our pipe we can wipe down, so we'll do that quickly, and we'll also wipe down the outside of our HPR with our clean microfiber, of course. Clean enough, I guess. So wipe these down here. This is probably going to be one of my longest videos because there are a few things that you have to take apart. It's a pretty simple gun to maintain though, to be honest. So now we'll wipe this down, all the old grease. I haven't done my HPR in a while, so it's a good reason to make this video. So it's all wiped down. I should be able to take this off. I'll twist this off here. Alright, now we are going to need a small, well, you can take your piston out, but we're going to need a small Allen key, the Allen key that you adjust your velocity with to push this bottom piece out here. I don't know if you guys can see that. I can't tell if it's focusing or not. So we'll go ahead and grab that Allen key. And then to do this, you just twist it all the way in and you'll be able to push it out. And there it is. So now you have this completely empty. You can wipe that out with your cloth. Now to untighten this piece, you should be able to just hold this end and put an Allen key in this and just loosen that up. So you can unscrew this. I don't know if you guys can see that too well there because the camera's far, and that's what you got here. So now we can just wipe down our parts here. Get all that old grease off. Make sure all your O-rings are fine. My O-rings are looking perfect, so I'm not too worried about that. We got all this wiped down. I just gotta wipe this bad boy down in the inside here. Looks like my dog might start barking, so sorry if he does. What's up, buddy? Okay, so now that we have everything wiped down, we can start putting everything back together. So we'll start by putting these two back together here. Or sorry, we'll put a bit of grease on here. I'm not sure if you're supposed to put grease on there, to be honest, but I will just because it's rubber and I don't want it to get dry. So we'll put a bit of grease on there. Good to go. Put the excess on these because I don't want to waste it. Okay, and then we'll screw these back together, and I'll just screw this back together probably hand tight. I guess I could put just a bit of extra pressure with an Allen key just to make sure, but you don't want to put this too tight because you want to be able to take it apart later on when you want to maintenance your gun the next time around. So Throw a bit more grease on there. Alright, now she's nice and greased up, and we can drop her back in here. And it'll be kind of like a tight fit because you have those O-rings to keep it sealed. So you have to push that in there a bit and just put a tiny Zeus. That's enough, buddy. So just putting a little bit of pressure with your index finger, then just screw outwards so it catches the threads. And then once it's caught, you don't have to push anymore. Then you want to untwist all the way out till you get to the very end where you're flat, and then you want to do 3 full turns in. So 1, 2, 3, and that's where it tells you to put it at when you look in the manual. That's just the factory setting, I guess. So once you lubed up your piston, you can throw your piston in there with your spring, just how you took it apart. Super simple. You just make sure your piston lines up with the little brass bonnet there, and should slide in there. So now that's all lubed up, we're going to lube up this O-ring right here. Zeus, enough, dude, enough. Sorry about my dog again, guys. Alright, so once you have that all lubed up, you can go ahead and throw your HPR back on there. Wipe off the excess grease that may have gotten in the threading there. Okay, so now that we have our HPR all lubed up and ready to go, we're going to clean this off slightly with our rag. I also tend to run a squeegee through here. You can run a squeegee through here. I just don't have it on hand, so not worried about it for now. So anyway, so we got that all wiped down. Then we're going to want to throw some grease on these O-rings here. Okay, now they're all nice and lubed up. We'll get our first piece in. Actually, no, we won't. We will get our grip in first. So you just force that on there. I like to push from the top just so I don't damage the gun anywhere. And then, so you pop this up here. You grab your first piece. You have this piece on the bottom side. And then you just twist this piece on here. And I like to tighten this nut with the just a rag, just to get it nice and hand tight. And there you go. Okay, so now that you have your grip back on and your HPR is all lubed up back together, you can lube up your AT pipe. And throw it back in there. Pretty simple. Throw this back in there, just slide it into position and tighten her up. And there you go. So that's the HPR. Now I guess we'll take a quick look at how to lube your bolt. So to lube your bolt or whatever, you take it out, take all your old lube off obviously, Once you have done that, you can start by twisting your can off, which will come off with your bolt. So to take your bolt out of there, you just push down on it. It'll pop right out. There you go. So you have one O-ring inside of here that you want to make sure you clean off and lube up. Once you have the inside of your can wiped down, you want to keep going with your bolt. Don't mind my dog, he's just being a pest, so I put him in the room. Okay, so now that your bolt's all cleaned off, you clean this off. And then you can continue by twisting this off. And once you have this off, you'll have a spring and a little guide rod, I guess, that'll come out with it. So we'll wipe all that down. Okay, so the next step is going to seem unorthodox, but you're actually going to have to just slightly tap this against the counter till you have this blue piece that's in there kind of pop out. So once it popped out a little bit, you should be able to get your finger in there and just slide it out. But I have small hands, so maybe somebody with like bigger hands wouldn't be able to grab it like I grab it, and you just keep smacking it slightly on the table. Doesn't do any damage to it. And then there's also a pin here that holds your bolt in place, which locks into this right here, so that's also important. Now you don't have to clean these two pieces out every time. I just I'm OCD, so I do clean it out every time. But just a note that you don't have to clean it every time. So we'll wipe all this off. Okay, so once you have everything wiped down, you're going to want to throw everything back together, obviously. So you have this piece here. This piece is slightly dipped. That's where your cap's going to go. So put that cap in there. So the trickiest part of throwing all this back together is getting this little piece to fall into that little hole in there, which you guys probably can't see. But so essentially, you just want to drop this in there and try and get it to line up. There you go. Sometimes it's actually really easy to get it. Sometimes it takes me a couple tries. But if you see how to do it from Planet Eclipse, that's literally how they tell you to do it. So there's no other way, I guess. So anyways, now we're just going to keep lubing up the next pieces we have to put together. Okay, so once you have your piece lubed up, you're just going to want to slide it back in. Alright, so once you have that slid in, you're going to want to lube up your spool. Okay, so once you have this lubed up, you're going to want to just put some lube on this O-ring right here, because you're not going to be able to lube it after. So throw some lube on there. And now you're going to just, once you have this O-ring lubed, you're just going to want to put this spring in here with your guide facing outwards, or going inside of here, I guess. Place that in there. And then you're just going to grab this piece, slide it over here, and there's going to be a bit of spring tension, and you just twist that on. And there you go. I just went down the extra lube here. Okay, so now that we have that on, we can continue to lube the rest of these O-rings, and these O-rings. Okay, so once you got all your O-rings lubed up, you can throw your bolt back inside your can, push it through, and then you can just screw it right back on here. Always, okay, Zeus. Always making sure that you're not cross-threading, obviously. You never want to cross-thread anything like this. Just for obvious reasons you don't want to. So yeah, now that we have that in there, we can finally lube this O-ring, this, and this O-ring. And that'll be our final O-rings to lube. Okay, so now that we got our last O-rings lubed up, we can slide our bolt back in there. And that's it. We just successfully lubed up our bolt. So next, I guess we'll take our eyes off. So for that, you're going to need the second smallest Allen key in your Allen key set. I guess I'll just take one side off to show you guys, give you guys an example. Super simple. You got your eye wire right there. What I like to do is I'll take out the smallest Allen key in the set. If I can get it out. And then I'll just slightly pull out on the eye wire, that way I can get to it, and then I'll take my detent out as well using the this one. And my detents are actually dirty, so I'll clean my other eyes and my other detent out. So clean your detent, make sure it's got no rips or anything like that, and it's still nice and reactive. And you wipe your eyes real quick, set that back in place, set your detent back in place. And then you can just slide your plate right back on there. Drop your screw in there, and like I said earlier, always making sure that you're not cross-threading. Sorry about my dog, he's being quite the pain in the butt today. So those don't need to be too tight. There's Loctite on those screws, so just put them snug. So this one, I'll give you guys a bit more of a close-up view of what it looks like here. Zeus. Get him. Okay, so once again, you want to pop your eye cover off. So I'll just give you guys a quick close-up. I'm not sure if that's in focus, but that's what it looks like. So once again, all I do is I grab the smaller Allen key, poke my eye wire up, and I get my detent out as well. These little buggers are hard to grab sometimes. Wipe that down. It's a very simple gun to maintain. My fingers are full of grease, so trying to get that detent in is a pain in the butt right now. Wipe your eye, put it back into position, and oop. And there you go. So for your eyes and detents, that's all there is to it. Not much to it at all. So next, I guess I will clean the ASA real quick. In order to do that, I already have this kind of twisted out. You just pop out this bolt here, and then if you look at the back side here, there's a little pin and an Allen key that you can put in there. So you're going to push that little pin with a smaller Allen key, and then with the right sized Allen key, which is the third biggest one, you just slide that in there, and you should be able to twist this out with no resistance. So once you have that twisted out, you should be able to just push the whole mechanism right out of the back, and there it is. So once again, you just use your second or your smallest Allen key to push it out. So now you have your little pin, and you also have just the O-ring that you have to lube here in this case, and you also just have this O-ring here that you have to lube up. This like I would only do this like whenever you do your HPR, which is only like I think every 20,000 shots or so. So really you don't have to be doing this all this much. And there's a little O-ring here, so I'm gonna put a bit of grease on there just cause I'm not sure if it's an O-ring, but either way it's rubber, so you always want to make sure that you got a bit of grease on whatever rubber parts you have. Don't want them drying up. So throw it back together, same thing that we did to take it apart. Now you don't want to screw it all the way in because when you slide in a tank it'll pressurize it right away. You don't want that. Defeats the whole purpose of having an ASA. So now we did that, we will take the grips off. You can take your grip off. It'll just slide right off, and if you were to have to change your battery or whatever, you could do so. To get to the solenoid or your board or whatever, it's fairly simple. If you want to separate the grip frame from the top half, just take your bolt off, and so you have your one screw hole here, or your one screw that's holding the front section, and the second screw is actually hidden, so you just have the hole here, and it's actually just under here where the bolt lock is. So that's where the bolts are situated if you want to separate the two halves. It's pretty simple to do that. I mean, straightforward. Just don't pull on your wires if you're going to do that. You don't really ever need to do that, like unless you got paint jammed up in your trigger or something like that, or you got paint stuck up there and you just want to wipe it out with a Q-tip or something like that. But then again, you could just take the trigger out and to do that. So really, I don't see why you would have to separate the two halves unless you were having to do some serious maintenance on the gun. But if you're watching this video on how to do maintenance on the gun, you shouldn't be doing serious maintenance like that on your gun, like taking apart your solenoid or something like that. You should probably just send it into Planet Eclipse. Even I would. So anyways, to put your grips back on, just slide them back over. Pretty simple. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for the maintenance aspect. Really, the only other thing you'd have to do maintenance on. No, I guess that's it. I mean, okay guys, so basically that's it for the maintenance of this gun here. There really isn't anything else you have to do maintenance on other than if you'd want to do maintenance on your solenoid or something like that, but really I don't recommend doing maintenance on your solenoid. If you want to get your solenoid worked on or cleaned or whatever, I would just send it into Planet Eclipse. If you're feeling confident, then I would go ahead and do it. But if you're watching a video on how to do like regular maintenance like we just did on the gun, then you probably shouldn't be taking apart your solenoid yourself, because that means you most likely don't have that much experience doing it. I don't have that much experience, I just know how to tech my own guns, and that's why I figured I'd put this video up, just to help out people that had a hard time or were maybe intimidated by teching their 160R. But anyways, that's it for today guys. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked the video. And thanks for watching guys. Have a good one.